We're going to try it. Yeah, here you are. Bruchim habayim. It means welcome, but in Hebrew it means blessed are you who come here. Blessed are you who come here, whether you are here in this space physically with us, and we're glad you came tonight, or you are welcoming us into your space as you're participating through the ether of the interwebs. However you are connecting tonight, you are welcome in our community. We are entering, I'm pinching myself. This is the high holidays, friends. We're here. We made it. Welcome to this special, precious, glorious space. Welcome to this incredible time that we are gifted every year through following the Jewish calendar. And I just wanted to let you know something extremely important right off the bat. It will be 18 days from today, at about this time, that we will enter into the Ne'ilah, the closing service of Yom Kippur. There are 18 days between tonight and the night of Yom Kippur. And that's special in so many ways. Many of you know Gematria, which is the Jewish mystical, Kabbalistic numbers game. Every letter in the Hebrew alphabet is also a digit, a number. And 18, the number 18, the number of days between now and Yom Kippur, is the word chai in Hebrew, like in lechaim, to life. So this time that we are gifted is under the auspicious sign of 18, of chai, of life. And it's something powerful that we open those 18 days, those days of chai, those days of life, as a parenthesis between tonight and the last moments of Yom Kippur. On this night specifically, our tradition tells us that the gate is opening. The gate is opening. It's the gate of repentance. It's the gate of atonement. It's the gate of at-one-ment. And that gate is opening, and we are invited to cross the threshold and enter into these energies. The energies of chai, these energies of 18, of life, so that we might perhaps use this precious time that we have together in community and also alone to carve for us a new path for our life. It resonates deeply for me tonight because I named these high holidays, I gave these high holidays the theme of in the book of life before I counted the days between tonight and Yom Kippur. And it feels that it is so coming together, that this time is a real time of deep transformation for us individually, for us as a community, and I think for us as a nation and a world. I'll talk more about the gematria of 5783. You know, I love to do that in the opening of Rosh Hashanah. I'll talk more about this theme in the Book of Life on Rosh Hashanah Eve as well, when once again I bore you with the story of the book that is open in front of, this story of the books opened in front of God, and God deciding where to write our name for yet another year of life. But we're not there yet. I know I'm jumping the gun a little bit. I think for tonight I'd like to invite you, as I'm inviting myself and our musicians, our singers, to hold a kavanah. It's very mystical of us to have a kavanah, an intention, as we step into these high holidays. And that kavanah, may it be a kavanah that we are holding each of us accountable. We are holding ourselves accountable to writing our name in the book of life through these high holidays. That we are committing right now, tonight, to doing the hard work of deep introspection, of soul searching. That includes a path of forgiveness of self, most importantly, forgiveness of others, forgiveness of a universe that might not have been very friendly to us this past year. Whatever you need to engage in, take a hold of these 18 days as the most precious days of your year that is about to end and begin. Paradoxically, I am well aware this year that as we are looking to write ourselves in the book of life, we have to do so from a practice of deep mourning. I said it was paradoxical. It is paradoxical, but we cannot write ourselves anew in the book of life if we're not also engaging through these 18 days into a deep process of mourning what was, of mourning the parts of who we were that are no longer supporting us, that are in fact holding us back to transform who we want to be being into the being we want to be being. And so there is at the same time this yearning to think of a new beginning, a new life, new possibilities. And at the same time, we also can't do that unless we mourn the parts of self we need to mourn and let go of and let die, in fact. So it's a book of life that invites us to let die what needs to die in our life. And I don't know what that is for you. You'll have to find out for yourself. So starting tonight, I aim to unpack for us the deeper and more profound meaning hidden beneath the surface of this symbolic metaphor of the book of life and its blank pages opened in front of us. Even though it seems, as we turn right now to page 3 in your High Holiday Machzor, your High Holiday prayer book, it seems that the psalmist who wrote Psalm 144 already knew, and he was giving us clues as to what it is we were to challenge ourselves to uncover and realize over this next 18 days. And I love that we start with the Ashrei every Slichot service, because we also start with the Ashrei for the Ne'ilah, for the concluding service of Yom Kippur. So again, there is this very powerful sense of bookendings in our high holidays. And let's see, maybe I'm going to offer that to all of you here at home to really engage and connect with the psalm that we're about to read together. Maybe take some notes for yourself about what's moving for you. And since we're going to be reading it together again 18 days from now, to see what has changed when we read it again in 18 days, what has blossomed for you, what has opened up for you. We are on page 3. We read together in Hebrew, and then we'll follow the acrostic in the English all the way to the bottom of page 3. So join me. Ashrei yoshvei veitecha, od yehalelucha sela. Ashrei ha'am shekacha lo. Ashrei ha'am she'Adonai Elohav. Happy are those who dwell in your house, for their hearts sing praises in your presence. Happy are the people who choose what is. Happy are the people who see all creation as the expression of the One. A Psalm of David, Tehillah le David. How wondrous the ways you manifest, Holy One. How blessed your eternal name. Every day I find more opportunities to bless in awe of your presence in my life. I sing with joy in the presence of being, within and without, everywhere and nowhere. Each generation praises the marvels of creation, bewildered by its magnificence. Anywhere I turn, I am surrounded by beauty. Words of wonder overwhelm me. Overpowering are the energies of your being that always draw me back to my center. The knowledge of your goodness enlivens me. Your righteousness stirs within me. You are gracious and merciful, endowing every soul with patience and love. Goodness is the source of all creation, compassion the ground of all existence. I am moved with the infinite gratitude, blessed by the grace of your being. In all my actions, I express thankfulness for all the blessings of my world. In every being, your presence awakens, everyone beautiful and worthy. Your being fills all worlds, visible and invisible, time-bound and timeless. You are the love that uplifts the downtrodden, raises up the humiliated. All eyes see but your presence everywhere. You are nourishment in every moment. In opening our hearts to your being, you satiate us beyond our will. I walk in your footsteps when I act justly, for compassion is the fabric of creation. Closer than I can ever fathom is the eternal. You are the truth behind all experiences. You await at the end of all desires, beyond the chatter of the mind. You are the love that guards us along the way, that tears down the walls of our delusions. I will praise the Holy One, for in the heart of all beings is your name forever engraved. Va'anachnu nevarech ya, me'eta ve'ad olam, hallelujah. And we will bless the Eternal One, now and always. Hallelujah. We're going to share in the Shehechianu together as well, this moment that blesses all moments. This Shehechianu that we speak together says whatever has happened in the year since we last came together for Slichot is for blessing. And for some of us, this might be a hard thing to conjure up in our heart. Maybe for some of us, this last year was a year of great challenge. Maybe some of us bumped into times of darkness. But you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be who you are if all that has happened since not just this past year, but all the years before that had not brought you to this moment just as you are. You couldn't have learned what you needed to learn. You couldn't have lived through what you needed to live through. And so a moment of a Shehechianu blesses it all. From a space of gratefulness for the difficulties and for the moments of great joy and bliss and love. Because Hineni, here I am. Here I am, and here I am meeting this moment as a mezuzah, as a threshold. A mezuzah is what we put on the doorpost of our houses so that we move from one space to another. We cross a threshold and we touch the mezuzah, and we, in doing so, bless the outside and the inside of our life in the guise of the outside and the inside of our house. But the house is just another body that hosts our soul. So consider the Shehechianu mezuzah in time. And just as we bless a moment as it is, we bless our lives as they are, and we bless our world as it is. Join me in the Hebrew and then the English. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu v'kimanu v'higyanu lazman hazeh. Blessed One, you are the emptiness that manifests as form. You are the life within us. You support and sustain us on our unique path, and you bring us to this moment for blessing. Amen. And just as the Shehechianu is a mezuzah in time, so is the Havdalah ceremony. We are about to enter into a mezuzah in space. Are you with me? We're gonna dim the lights as dark as we can in the space. And they're gonna keep one spotlight on me because I have a big ego. And I need the spotlight to be on me all the time. It's really just so that the people at home can see what's going on. This is the Havdalah candle. It's a braided candle made of many, many threads, just like us. See, this is the light of our being, and the light of our being is burning brightly because we are made, each of us, of 1,000 threads. And they all come together to burn the beautiful light of our soul right here in this space. So now that I have kindled the candle that is who we are, I'm going to ask the musician to remind us of the beautiful melody that we're going to be singing together through the Havdalah with a yai dai dai so you can join. I was about to pour the wine into our Kiddush cup already while the melody was ringing through the space, but I decided that if I were to do that, I would miss an opportunity. Because here are the energies in the bottle of the high holidays. This symbolizes whatever we want to pour into the container of these high holidays. This is the container of the high holidays. Each of us, a container for possible energies. But you can't start if the cup is already full. If you come to these high holidays with your cup already full, then there is no room for you to find the nectar of what can be uncovered these 18 days. So the teaching is perhaps at the same time that we will be blessing the energies that we will pour into this cup, these high holidays, the teaching is really for us in this moment, on this night, to look at what it is we need to empty our cup from. What has been overflowing in our life that is really spilling all over us and is just staining parts of our heart, maybe parts of our soul, parts of our being, that we just need to pour it out, to just empty this container of ours. And this is what I was talking about as the mourning process. What is it we need to mourn? That we need to let go, that we need to let die. And now I'm going to imagine that your cup is empty as this one, and I'm going to pour the energies of these high holidays into this cup. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to bless the energies, but we're not going to taste from them. In the Havdalah, we postpone the drinking of the wine until the very end. And we'll do that symbolically here tonight, but I'm going to say that the blessing is waiting for us for the Ne'ilah at the end of Yom Kippur. The drinking, not the blessing. We're going to bless now and trust that at the end of Yom Kippur, we will drink from what we have blessed today, not knowing quite yet what it is going to be. The words are Borei Pri Hagafen. Next is the blessing over spices. This is a Jewish spice box. It's got a flag, and it got spices in there. Spices are meant to wake us up, you know. They are a fragrance that suddenly takes us out of whatever we were doing and just wakes us up. And so this blessing is about waking ourselves up, maybe from the slumber of habituated life, slumber of the habit patterns of the mind. Don't worry, stay with the candles. I'm just going to pass around some of the spice bags. Take a bag, and then we can pass it around and pass it behind you. I'm going to give this to the singers for them as well. So the spices are telling us, you can come back on me right now. The spices are telling us, wake up. Wake up. Break free from your habituated life. Wake up and go inside. There is more, it's telling us, there is more to this life than the stories of your ego. You are invited to step beyond the already known and to discover the unknown. The words are Borei Mineh Vesamim. And then we bless the light. And when we bless the light, and maybe you can do that from wherever you are, sitting in the sanctuary, we cup our hands this way. And we let the light of the candle of the flame be reflected on our fingernails, while we notice at the same time the shadow that our fingers are casting on the palm of our hands. And teaching is always that the light of our being always also casts a shadow. That in us there are always, like on our fingernails, sparks of lights in our lives, in our being, in ourselves. But we cannot ignore also the shadow that we are casting as we bend about in our lives, and the people that we have hurt, the people that unintentionally we have caused pain to, and the pain we are causing ourselves as well from our lack of sometimes forgiveness. May this light on this Slichot service, may this light of spirit illuminate our path forward through this next 18 days. The last words of the blessings are Boreh Meoreh Ha'esh. Last, we have the Havdalah blessing. We bless a moment of transition in this blessing. We bless a moment of a potential for transformation through these high holidays. We step into a different kind of consciousness that asks, what if we let go of our old stories? What if right now we make the conscious decision that we're going to look at those stories and we're going to let go of those that are no longer useful, that in fact may be hurtful, that are obstacles to our evolution? What if we let go of our old truths? What could be our story of tomorrow then? I want to, if you can, I don't know if you can with the lights down, but I want to read the English of the blessing. Blessed One, you are the emptiness that manifests as form, the source of all that is, the one who distinguishes the holy from the ordinary, the light from the dark, the spiritual path of a people called Israel from the spiritual path of other peoples, the seventh day of rest from the 6 days of creating. Blessed One, you are the emptiness that manifests as form, the one who separates that which is holy from that which is yet to be holy. In Hebrew is Hamavdil ben Kodesh lechol, the first verse, the first sentence in Hebrew, or in the transliteration in your prayer book.
Baruch atah
May whatever you are blessing tonight be as sweet and tasty and glorious as this wine. Amen. We now have to extinguish the flame. We let go of Shabbat. We let go of really the year that was as we step into the high holidays. Here's the container and the sweet nectar that we will discover at the end of Yom Kippur. And we bring our entire being, all threads and all lights, to merge with that container. This is our practice. And as the lights come back into the space, at some point they will, I promise you. Am I on? Yeah. I never write my talk on Slichot. Usually I reserve that for Rosh Hashanah, and I will do that as well on Rosh Hashanah day. But this is too important. This is too important, I thought, for me to just let myself meander around all that I really want to tell you, and then we'll be here until midnight. So I decided to do you a favor and to write it down so that I keep myself honest with the time. But I feel this is really critical and really important. I think it's a way for me to also set the tone and the theme for these high holidays. I've been thinking a lot about the notion of purpose. Maybe this is a particular time in my life that has brought me to reevaluate what purpose may mean for me right now. I turned 50 about a year and a half ago. And I was already feeling then that I needed to refocus my attention as I was entering into the last third of my life. And these past months have been a time of transition as well in my family life, as you well know, with both my kids now in college and my wife and I entering the empty nesting, or as our board president put it aptly, remote parenting stage of our life. And so tangled up in my wrestling with this notion of purpose for my life, of course, is the notion of purpose for my work. And when I challenge the purpose of my work, I also challenge the notions or ideas I have about the purpose of Bet Aleph as our community. It all goes together because, as we know, it really is all one. Interestingly enough, our board of directors are also having a conversation about purpose right now, looking at everything that happens at Bet Aleph through those lens of what is the purpose of this and what is the purpose of that, and is that aligned with who we are and what we want to do and accomplish as a community. Very critical and important conversations. And since this is the High Holidays, and like I said, we have just been gifted 18 days for genuine introspection, the time is ripe, I believe, to dive into it more deeply for myself in particular, our community in general. And if this resonates with you as well as I hope for you and your own life. So with this preamble behind us now, I want to take a moment to talk a little bit about the famous Jewish concept of tikkun olam. What is it? What it isn't? And why we should embrace it as a profound, transformative spiritual practice. What tikkun olam isn't, I think it's best to start there. What tikkun olam isn't is what has unfortunately come to mean for most people, namely social activism. Most people understand tikkun olam to mean repairing the world, which is one of its meanings, to be sure, and use the concept as a banner to fight the good fight and combat whatever ill of society they feel most called to stand against. But for every left progressive social activist waving the tikkun olam banner, there is a right conservative social activist waving the exact same banner. You win some, you lose some. You win abortion rights in the 70s, you lose abortion rights in the 20s. You win a point for climate change in the Senate, you lose a point for climate change in the courts when the EPA is rendered incapacitated. And no, with all due respect, revered Reverend Martin Luther King, the arc of history is not bending toward justice. It is bending toward death and annihilation. And we Jews have spent the last 3,000 years at least writing the so-called arc of history, and it has bent toward the gas chambers and extermination camps. So let's just say that on that point, Mr. Luther King, we beg to differ. But why? Why has all the work over so many generations that has gone toward making the world a better place led to the gas chambers, led to the climate catastrophe that is now unraveling human civilization itself? Because all this time, And to this very day, we have continued to attack the symptoms. And as we learn, back in middle school, every action has only engendered an opposite reaction. We have never stopped and looked at the disease itself. The Hebrew expression tikkun olam has the word olam in it. And that word means world, universe, creation. While tikkun, the word tikkun means to straighten, to set in order. To translate tikkun as to fix or repair the world means that we hold the world as broken. And that is not a Jewish concept. Judaism, and especially Jewish mystics, see the work of every Jew as participating in the completion of creation. It's not broken, it's just not finished yet. It is still evolving. And according to Pirkei Avot, לא עליך המלאכה לגמור ולא אתה בן חורין להיבטל ממנה. We are not even required to complete the work of creation. We're just required to engage in the process itself. To see the world as unfinished is radically different than to see it as broken. And I want you to really feel into what I'm trying to say here. To feel that difference between the world is not yet finished, contrary to it is broken. Because the latter feels antagonistic, combative, heroic in a way, and therefore very much egotistic. I, me, myself, I'm going to fix it. It's broken. Let me step in and tell you how to right the wrongs. The former, conversely, feels much more humbly inviting to take our place in the multitude of those who are engaged in this process of contributing our small part to the evolution and completion of creation. Tikkun olam invites us to set things in order. That's what the word means. To straighten, to set in order. Because of the disease of the world, the illness of the world. What the world suffers from as the source of all symptoms is a massive case of psychological disorder. A dissociative mental illness. The illness of separateness. The ego, which is otherwise necessary and useful, has overstepped its bounds and has cemented itself in our consciousness as an existing, solidified, separate entity that has reshaped the world around it to be perceived as other, as alien, different from itself. A world out there somehow existing as well as solidified entities outside of ourself. And those entities often threatening the well-being of that separate sense of self, threatening its survival even. And therefore, this outer world has to be at best contained, controlled, or appeased, or at worst, it has to be dominated. It has to be manipulated. It has to be even sometimes eradicated. And it is this dissociative disorder that we all suffer from. And we have for millennia. And that is what has created a human-dominated world on the verge of total extinction. This disease, this disorder of separateness is at the core of our illness. And everything else is its symptoms. I really want, this has been a really long journey for me to get to what I just told you. But it's so clear to me at this point. What is at the core of all that ails our world, ourselves, and each other is the disorder, the psychological disorder of separateness. And if we keep understanding Tikkun Olam so narrowly as a form of social activism, unless we're able to shift our perspective away from this disorder of separateness, we actually will continue to attack the symptoms, but will never fix the underlying illness, the underlying disorder. Worse, because our social activism is operating from the perspective of separateness, we will continue to perpetuate and strengthen what we are paradoxically trying to change. And I've come to realize that, unfortunately, unless we as a species are able to transcend this alienating perspective of separation, the disease or disorder of otherness will only perpetuate what ails us, what ultimately will destroy us and everything in our human wake. And the faster our technology runs ahead of us and away from us, the faster our human civilization will tear itself apart and eventually implode. Now, as you know from previous talks and previous high holidays, I am not a man of hope. Hoping for me feels like we are kicking the can down the road and waiting for our circumstances to change or for some kind of savior to show up and change things for us. Because perhaps my life has been infused with Judaism and its teachings, I'm more of a na'aseh v'nishma kind of guy. Na'aseh v'nishma. When God in Torah thundered, Anochi, I am, as the first of the 10 commandments, we, the people, were overwhelmed by the unfathomableness of revelation with a capital R. It was vastly beyond our ken. So we turned to Moses and we said to Moses, you know, all that the Eternal has spoken, we'll do it. We'll do it, and then in the doing of it, we'll get it, we'll understand, but right now we're just going to do it. And that's what Judaism is at its core. Judaism is a praxis. Judaism is something we do, not something that requires belief. It is in the doing, in the practicing, that what God always reveals to us moment to moment becomes seen, becomes understood, becomes integrated so that we might be transformed. So what can we do? I have come to a place in my life where I am now convinced that embracing the path of deep spirituality, the path that supports our awakening to the oneness that is all, the practice that will allow us to transcend the illness of the separate sense of self, is what can still provoke the necessary shift in humanity's perspective to carve out a different course for our future. Now, there are many traditions and many modalities of practice that pursue this goal. Judaism is only one of them. But Judaism is my path. And Judaism is the one path I believe that also invites us to shift our perspective, to shift our consciousness. And that is specifically to be found in Kabbalah, in Jewish mysticism. And it is therefore from that perspective that I come to the practice of Tikkun Olam. Not as the fixing of a broken world, but rather the participating in its reordering. Since Rabbi Isaac Luria in the 1600s and the Kabbalistic school of Tzfat in northern Israel, our mystics' invitation has been to see the sparks of the divine in everyone and everything. To take a disenchanted world and discover once again its sacredness, its holiness. Tikkun Olam, from the mystical perspective, is a practice to know the holy from the illusion of anything being mundane. Nothing is mundane. There is no such a thing as mundane. And as we shared in the final blessing of the Havdalah we just did, we said between that which is holy and that which is not yet holy. You remember that? It is not yet holy because our egos, our separate sense of self, judges it to be so. Because our separate sense of self needs it to be so because it doesn't see itself as holy. But the entirety of spiritual practice, especially of Tikkun Olam, is to erase these two words, not yet. To erase these two words, not yet, because everything and everyone is already sacred, already holy. But we have yet to transcend the illusion of separation that would allow us to see that it all is absolutely, gorgeously, totally sacred and holy. Everything, everyone, including us, including you. You are the divine sparks that is animated within you. This animated spark is the life you live. The mystical practice of Tikkun Olam invites us to redeem these sparks, meaning to realize God as expressing through it all, at all times and everywhere. Interbeingness is the thread, the tapestry of our universe. Nothing exists apart from anything else. Everything is a part in a greater whole. Everything is a part in a greater whole that itself is a part of a greater whole. And it's that way, parts becoming whole, that becomes part of other wholes, all the way up and all the way down. Reality is a nested reality, from the unfathomably small to the unfathomably large. Which brings me to the theme of these high holidays, in the book of life. How do we truly write ourselves in the proverbial book of life? Not just ourselves, but the whole of humanity. And here we tie this question back to our original contemplation of purpose. Because right now it seems to me that we as humanity are continuing to write ourselves in the book of death while getting very close to authoring the final chapters of the book. To write ourselves in the book of life, because any shift in global consciousness can only start with who we are, you and me, where we are right here, right now. It is for each of us to commit to this spiritual practice of Tikkun Olam. Any practice that can break the spell of separateness is a practice that, as far as I'm concerned, can save the world from self-destruction, can truly heal the deep wounds of humanity. Meditation is, of course, one of these practices. And I'm going to be a little grandiose here, but I think belonging to a community such as ours, such as this one, with this message of oneness, of absolute unity and complete holiness that is hammered over and over and over again. Every Shabbat, every holy day. Because we need to be reminded over and over again. This community of ours, this precious glorious Bet Aleph of ours, is another sliver of the Tikkun Olam spectrum of practices. So here you have it. A year and a half since my 50th birthday, wrestling with this process, I have come to discern the beginning of a purposeful path forward. A dear friend of mine for my 50th birthday bought me this silver bracelet. I wonder if the camera could zoom in on my bracelet as close as possible. This was before I started to engage in this ongoing journey of discernment and introspection that brought me here tonight. Inscribed on this bracelet are the words Tikkun Olam in Hebrew. And on the day that I received it, it was just another lovely piece of jewelry that, I thought I would wear from time to time when the mood was striking. But now it is what is constantly in front of me. It is my reminder of my purpose. So may we find it in ourselves to take on our journey toward transcending this separate disease of separation, this disease of separateness, that we might write ourselves and the world, God willing, in the book of life. Amen. Told you it was important. It's so important. On page 5, the 13 qualities of God's name, which is our name. We read together in the English. Holy One of Being, embodiment of compassion and grace, you address us one by one. Support us in understanding our limitations. Forgive our inadequacies and pass over our too blatant mistakes. You expunge the many instances when we have found ourselves missing the mark and welcome back all those who stray. You deal righteously with every breathing being, and do not dwell on our too human flaws. Long ago, you taught us a new song, the song of the 13 qualities of your name. Remember this song today as you did in that ancient wilderness. It is recounted in your Torah when your spirit descended in a cloud upon him and enwrapped him in its glory. And there it is said that he experienced your presence and heard a voice calling, Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum V'Chanun, Erech Apayim V'Rav Chesed V'Emet, Notzer Chesed La'alafim, Noseh Avon V'Fesha, V'Chata V'Menakeh. The eternal, God of compassion and grace, patience, unending loving kindness and truth, bearing love for 1,000 generations, cleansing and forgiving iniquity, transgression, and sin. And we have come to one of my favorite moments in a slichot service, which is that we get to change the cover of the Torah from her annual garb to her high holiday garb. And it is especially powerful this high holidays because we get to do that twice, because we have two of them. And it's even more special tonight because I'm about to unveil the new high holiday Torah cover of the new Torah that we were gifted by Kate Elias in this spring. And it's a very special Torah cover. It is right here next to me, sitting there. Maybe I should put it in the middle. I'd like the camera actually to zoom in on the Torah cover. I found a couple in Arizona as doing some research online and found their website and studied their different designs. And I fell in love with some of those designs. But none of those designs was good enough for us. It wasn't good enough for what we really wanted for our Torah, our new Torah for her high holiday garb. So I called them up. And I said, here are the 5 designs that I really like. This one and that one, this one. Is there a way that we can work together and design out of those 5, 3, something that would work for us? And we embarked on a very interesting journey of me, the non-artist as I am, and trying to convey what I was wanting in the design. And ultimately, with a lot of back and forth and different trial and errors, I was able to convey that I really love this design. And I think it's turned out absolutely glorious, absolutely stunning. Let me tell you about the different parts. At the bottom, circling the Star of David, the golden Star of David, there's a special kind of material they use for that, are the pomegranates, which are the sign of the high holiday, Rosh Hashanah, and obviously going into Sukkot. So the symbol was perfect for this time of the year. The almond blossoms are a very big symbol in Judaism. It adorns the menorah. The great menorah in the temple was designed with calyx's almond blossoms. It is also in our tradition the sign of divine beneficence, divine presence, of the divine presence of God being mindful of us. So I thought it would be beautiful to have that circle the gold Star of David. The Star of David, as you can see, maybe from afar or from home, is broken into different little pieces, and those pieces are not pieces, they are letters. It spells what is the anthem of our high holidays, Avinu Malkeinu. The star itself is Avinu Malkeinu. Now, I wanted also to have a Choshen, the breastplate. So we found this one. It's glorious because it's transparent, so it goes over, you can still see the background. And it says, Etz Chaim Hi Lamachazikim Ba in Hebrew here. It is a tree of life to all who hold her fast. And at the bottom is Jerusalem, Jerusalem of gold, Yerushalayim Shel Zahav. And at the top is Keter, the crown of Kabbalah. I thought that would work. I hope you think too. But I wasn't done yet, because so many of you had donated that money, and I really wanted to make it really special. And this is my way to thank you for all your gifts that have made this possible. But I needed something to preserve, because we only use it for 18 days. And then for a year, the cover sits. And I was concerned that it would get, folded, and that it would get hurt. So I called the person in Israel who made our ark. And I told him, can you make us a stand in the same colors as the ark, with the same wood? And he designed this. Literally, this arrived a few days in my house. And it's going to help keep the cover pristine for many, many years. So thank you to all of you who have supported this beautiful, sacred effort. So we have two Torahs to dress. We're going to start with the smaller one. And for the smaller one, I'm going to ask Barbara Hissiger to come forward and help me. We're going to open the ark, and please rise. And Jal is going to play a little music while we do that. So come on here. We're going to do it on this step. Can you grab the white Torah cloth? Good. So I want you to be on that first step here, because it's easier to take everything from a little higher space. So you have to take everything off first. I wanted Barbara to do this tonight because Barbara has been amazing volunteering for the mitzvah committee this past year, and especially sitting with our friend Shelly Cohen, Shabbat after Shabbat, helping him connect online from his hospital room. And you have been very precious in doing that. So put this over there. We'll grab it again in a moment. You got it. It's Wilgers are going to grab it in just a second again, so don't worry about it. All right, take the cover. Yeah, don't fall. All right, good. I'll grab it. Now you can grab the white one. The white one says in Hebrew, Yehi or, let there be light. So it's going to be the other side. Turn it around. Yes. See, that's why you are on the step. So it's easier. Good. Now if you want to put back the Choshen and the Yad on top. Over both. Good. You got it. And then the Yad. Over both. Good. Now I'm going to ask you to stand right here and hold her until we bring her back. Yes? Now for the other one, I'm going to steal this chair, because the other one, a step won't help. And I'm going to ask Kate to come and sit on the chair, and Susan Moss to come forward. I asked Susan Moss to be part of this, and Kate made the donation so that we have the Torah and this cover. And among all the donations that came in for the High Holiday, Susan just carried the big torch. So I wanted you to also be honored. So you have to take this cover off of her. And we have to put it back on this. I can do that. And then put this one on. And for the first time, the Choshen, the breastplate, on both, yeah, like that. On both as well. Good. Kate, can you stand up for a second or two? Good. It's not an easy thing to do. And while we are here, I'd like to turn to the top of page 6. And while the Torahs are here with us, you can come right here. We're going to say and then chant the Shema with, for the first time, the High Holy Day melody. Join me. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Listen, Israel. The eternal manifests as all that is. The eternal is one. Next time. Just the Shema for now. You're jumping the gun. We're going to put the Torah back in the ark. The Torot, we say in the plural. Come on in. They are beautiful. Thank you. Thank you.
It's gorgeous.
Very much, very lovely. Shema Kolenu. Join me. Shema Kolenu, Adonai Eloheinu, chus v'chachem aleinu, v'kabel berachamim uvratzon et tefilatenu. Listen to our voice, Eternal One of Being. Show us kindness and compassion, and receive our prayers with kind-heartedness and goodwill. The next song is unique to the High Holy Days. It is one of my favorite. Maybe, oh, here. See, it's if I, and then if I do this, it works. So it's something connecting with the wood of the stair. Hashivenu, this is that time, in that song that really draws me into the High Holidays. It is that we are going to dim the lights because of the melody of that song, you know, that yearning that comes from this transformative song. Really, it's mournful, and I think it's apt with what I've been talking about since the beginning of the night. It's mournful because it invites us to mourn the parts of self that need to be let go. To sing through the pain. It's so Jewish. Through the pain and the yearning and the suffering, so that we can, in fact, use it as catharsis and let it go, and let it go. We'll take all the time we need. It's best to remain standing if you so choose. I know you've been standing for a while. It might not be comfortable for everyone, so do what you must for yourself. But please join in. It's not a presentation. Don't know what I did. Anyway, it's not a presentation kind of song. It's a song for everyone to come and be part of it. Hashivenu. Please be seated. We can keep the sanctuary dim because I want to do a little meditation. So find a comfortable sitting position here, at home, wherever you are finding us. And just gently find your breath. I'm going to invite you into a meditation to transcend a separate sense of self, so buckle up. For now, just be present to your breath as the body is breathing. And see if you can relax with every out breath. Releasing any tension in the body anywhere. Now just simply pay attention to the breath as it comes in and goes out. You can feel the air coming through your nose, or you can feel the belly rising and falling, whatever works for you. The body is breathing in. And you notice the body is breathing in. The body is breathing out. You notice the body breathing out. Simple. Very simple. Notice that you are not breathing. The body is breathing, but you are not breathing. The body is breathing whether you notice it is breathing or not. So the body doesn't need you to breathe. The body does whatever the body does, and breathing is part of what the body does. So let's be clear. You are not breathing. Can you notice that? You may be noticing the body breathing, but whether you're awake or sleeping, the body doesn't need you to breathe. Thank God. Now feel into the heart beating, pulsating, pumping blood throughout the body. You are aware of the heart beating, but you're not beating the heart. The heart is beating whether you are conscious or unconscious. Thank God. Now feel the sensations in the stomach, in the belly. Maybe you just had dinner before coming to services. Maybe at home you're still having dinner. I don't know. Notice that despite what the English is saying, you are not digesting. Digesting happens whether you want it or not, whether you order it or not. In fact, consider that you are not in charge of any of the bodily functions that are going on thousands of times every day. It happens whether you are there or not, whether you are conscious or unconscious. Cells are being born and dying. Every part of the body is functioning, thank God, in a way that it is functioning, and you have nothing to do with it. So there is a body, but you're not the body. The body exists and functions without a you ever needing to be there. Now I want you to observe this next thought that just was arising in your consciousness. Whatever that thought was. Maybe you were thinking about how uncomfortable your sitting position was, or hot or cold, or whatever your thought was. Now, you didn't know until the thought was there that you were going to think that thought, did you? In fact, the thought that you're going to think 30 seconds from now, you have no idea what it's going to be. It's going to come, it's going to go. It's going to yield the space to another thought that you also don't know what it's going to be 3 seconds from now. The mind, it seems, has a mind of its own. It is thinking its own thoughts, unbeknownst to you. And they seem to be following a certain pattern, a certain... One thought seems to provoke the next one or somehow be connected to the next one. It feels like there's like a chain of association between a thought to another thought. In fact, you could play the game of looking at this thought that just arose right now and go back and say, oh, what did I think before that? And then before that, and oh my God, all the way back 2 minutes ago, it became this thought right now. We've all played that game, haven't we? The other truth is that you are only aware that a thought has arisen after it has arisen. So not only do you not know what you're going to be thinking 3 seconds from now, by the time you are aware of the thought, it's already been thought. It's in the past. You are not in charge of thinking. You've never been in charge of thinking. Thinking arises of its own, based on all kinds of conditioned threads that we can probably trace way back into your childhood. All of the patterns of behavior, all the beliefs, all the truth you hold onto so dearly, none of that is or has anything to do with you. It comes and it goes of its own, and you have nothing to do with it. Can you see that? This is truth. This is what we discover when we simply observe reality, truthfully, without pretending that I am the thinker of my thoughts. If I was the thinker of my thoughts, I would really only think the things that I really want to think about, which that does not really happen, does it? I would think only positive thoughts, loving thoughts. I'd never get angry. I'll never tell stories of bad things happening to good people. But I can't do that, can I? So I am not the thoughts. I am not the body. Neither are you. So what are we? What is this I that seems to be aware of the thoughts, of the sensations of the body, of the breath coming in, going out? Who am I if I don't let the thoughts tell me who I am? Because if I let the thoughts tell me who I am, then it's just another thought that I am aware of, not I. Who are you if you don't let your thoughts tell you who you are? Nobody is breathing. Nobody is breathing. Nobody is beating hearts. Nobody is digesting. Nobody is thinking. In truth, nobody is meditating. Nobody is meditating. Nobody is chanting Shalom. And yet, as the lights come back into the sanctuary, we are dropped into the illusion of separation again. Suddenly somebody is here. Somebody will be reading these words of the Al-Khat on page 7. Suddenly it feels somebody is going to beat their chest, faced with all the ways, as we read these, all the ways that our holding on to this separateness, to this separate sense of self, is causing us to act in hurtful ways. If you want to know what your separate sense of self does, this is the list. When we act from this sense of separateness, this is how we act. This is what the high holidays are there to help us become aware of, confront us with, but in a way that it pushes us to acknowledge how this fragmented, separate sense of self manifests in our world. But not to punish ourselves, because that's still more separateness. But in fact, is about becoming clear, becoming really clear of that false story of separation manifesting as, we call it here, sin, but we understand it to be missing the mark. We miss the mark when we act from separateness. And as long as we continue to live from that place, we will continue to add to this list. Year after year, high holiday after high holiday. But we're here, we're doing this. This is Jewish confession. This is the one time. We don't do confession, but only on Yom Kippur and on your deathbed. Those are the 2 times. And this is confession to become aware of the pain of separation, to make a name so that we can make conscious and therefore take responsibility so that we can be moved, deeply moved, to grow beyond that separateness, to grow beyond the suffering it causes to ourselves and to others. And so we rise and we say, our God and God of our fathers and mothers, we're not so insolent as to claim that we are without failing. We join in the ancient litany of confession as a community, as we have done for generations. For all the moments when with our actions, our words, our thoughts, our feelings, and our images, we denied the life that is our life. God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, grant us atonement. You know, the word is al chet shechatanu lefanecha. It says in English, for the sin we have sinned before you. We say we because it's all of us. You see, none of us can feel more sinful than anyone else. We don't have that specialness. You don't have the right to that specialness. We are just as sinful as you are. It's all of us. This is community. This is all of us. For the sin all of us have sinned before you. You is our undivided one self. על חטא שחטאנו לפניך. על חטא שחטאנו לפניך באימוץ הלב. For the sin we have sinned before you by hardening our hearts to the feelings of others. על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בבלי דעת. For the sin we have sinned before you because we lacked knowledge of the consequences of our actions. על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בגלוי עריות. For the sin we have sinned before you through acting against our own morality. על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בגלוי ובסתר. For the sin we have sinned before you openly or in secret. For this על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בדעת ובמרמה. For the sin we have sinned before you knowingly and deceitfully. על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בדיבור פה. For the sin we have sinned before you through speech. על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בהונאת רעה. For the sin we have sinned before you through deceiving another person. על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בזדון ובשגגה. For the sin we have sinned before you consciously or unconsciously. ועל כולם אלוהי סליחות, סלח לנו, מחל לנו, כפר לנו. For all of them, God of forgiveness, forgive us, release us, grant us atonement. על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בלצון. for the sin we have sinned before you through scorning others. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha bechozek yad, for the sin we have sinned before you by hurtfully exercising power. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha bilshon hara, for the sin we have sinned before you by hurting others through our speech. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'masa uvmatan, for the sin we have sinned before you through dishonest and hurtful business dealings. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha biflilut, for the sin we have sinned before you in judging others and ourselves unfairly. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha bekashiut oref, for the sin we have sinned before you through being obstinate. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha besinat chinam, for the sin we have sinned before you by hating too easily. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha betim'on levav, for the sin we have sinned before you through not knowing our own heart. Ve'al kulam Elohas slichot, slach lanu, mechal lanu, kaper lanu. For all of them, God of forgiveness, forgive us, release us, grant us atonement. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, for the sin we have sinned before you by failing to work toward peace. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, for the sin we've sinned before you by keeping silent in the face of injustice. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, for the sin we've sinned before you by not acting to relieve the suffering of those in distant lands. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, for the sin we have sinned before you by not caring for the poor in our midst. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, for the sin we have sinned before you by not acting to protect our fragile environment. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, for the sin we have sinned before you by indulging ourselves while others suffer. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, for the sin we have sinned before you by being unclear about our priorities in the life you have given us. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, for the sin we have sinned before you by being closed to your presence in our life. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, because all of the above stem from our illness of separateness. Ve'al kulam Elohai slichot, slach lanu, mechal lanu, kaper lanu. For all of them, God of forgiveness, forgive us, release us, grant us atonement. Please be seated. We have reached the last song of our Slichot service for the year 2022. But before we close with Adonai Ori, I just wanted to remind everyone that this is the time we have 18 days for that, where we are compiling the Yizkor memorial list. If there is anyone in your life who unfortunately had made their transition since last Yom Kippur, please let the office know. We will add their name to our list and remember them on Yom Kippur. Again, people who have made their transition since last year on Yom Kippur. Rosh Hashanah is coming quickly. It's what happened again? Sunday the 25th. Sunday the 25th. It's a little weird that it's on the 25th. But it's not December, it's September. I figured by the silence that you were not following me. But I've been thinking of it for weeks. It's like, what? Anyway, Sunday night the 25th and Monday morning the 26th, please come. I know it's a Monday and I know you have to go to work. Don't. I'm serious. I plead with you every year, and I will continue to plead with you every year. We're Jewish people, and we need to let people know this is our holidays. Christian people have the days off on their 25th. Nobody asks them to work on the 25th. So make a statement and tell your employee and your employer, and if you have Jewish employees, please don't make them work. And just let your employer know this is a holy day for you. And they need to abide by your religious conviction and your spiritual path. So don't go to work. I'll write you a note. I get a rabbi's note. You know, you can have a doctor's note. You can have a rabbi's note. Lastly, I didn't bring the bag with me, but it's also the time for us to collect for the food bank. People who are hungry, don't stop being hungry because we are celebrating the high holidays. And so grab one of those gorgeous bags and fill them up and bring them back next Sunday, next Monday, for Shabbat, for Yom Kippur. Thank you. So after this song, and I'm going to do my best to sound the shofar. It's hard when your mouth is dry. But this is when we start. This is when you start to say to each other, Leshana Tova. A good year. A good year. Adonai Ori.
Adonai Ori Vishi Mimira Adonai Ori
Shana Tova.